We're definitely not casters from the region of this team. And the other side, you know, the Gentlemates are from this region called LFL. You know, they're not going to destroy all of us and make us all feel very sad.
Yeah, I think Lions Creed might be the best team in the world.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, absolutely. You know, like T1, BLG, Gen G, none of them. They're not anything.
But already, Mr. Initialize, exactly what we talked about. Already seeing the Xayah Rakan potential duo out of there. Gentlemates, they love it.
Rakan or the Xayah? I'm
you know
assuming
what?
the Rakan.
I think it's Rakan.
I think
they
it's
use
Rakan.
the whole splash,
exactly, so
it's kind of confusing.
I'm assuming that's Rakan.
But what you need to know about Gentlemates, absolutely, since we just went on about
Lions Creed. Memes aside.
They love their mid-game skirt, like mid to side kind of insta-burst single target team compositions, where they play Xayah Rakan, they play Sejuani, and they just go on the first target with Taliyah combos as well as Renekton combos. We already see Taliyah banned, but that's because both teams love that pick.
And White's got the Sejuani. It's something he's very comfortable on. It's one of those go button picks. It helps him shield the lanes that do like to break quite aggressively. On the other side, though, we have seen this from Lions Creed so often. They are a win lane, win game team. They are very, very good at this. One of the few teams in this tournament I would trust to play Lucian well. They have shown very good games of the Lucian, but there's been one or two which have been a little bit suspect as well. Either way, it is a statement of intent. They've got the Vi, they've got the Nami, they've got the Lucian. Mid-game is a go, picks are a go.
Absolutely. This is going to be a very explosive mid-game. Now, looking forward into the 4-5, I'm looking at champions that pair up really well with the Vi as priority for Lions Creed. Stuff like the Ahri, we've already been taken away. Nico also works. There's also the Orianna if you want to do that. And then for the side of Gentlemate, you're looking at your melee pairings with Sejuani for top side. I think you can blind away Renekton pretty comfortably. That's also a takeaway. These kinds of picks are very comfortable in Ragnar's hands. He also likes the Rumble, although I think your damage share is a bit bad then. So definitely Renekton Jax kind of angle.
Exactly. And of course, Ragnar, very famously a pretty heavy damage player when he gets the chance. So if he does get to access something a bit scarier there, it could be interesting. You can see that's why they're banning away things like the Twisted Fate, which have been so oppressive in the top lane of late. Less about the damage per se, but the lane prior, the ability to make those picks, very difficult to manage.
I wonder if Cassante is going to be prior for either of these teams. I know Banderas loves Cassante, and Cassante is very good into Lucian culling. You just press W and you tank the culling very easily. So that might be a denial pick on R4 here. Doesn't look like they're going to give Ragnar counter pick R5.
They do go towards the Azir. Ragnar's getting the counter pick. Could, of course, still look towards something lane swap, but it'd be a pretty unusual tempt. Not going to have access to that Ahri, the Aurelion. So, of course, tempt is partly named after Ahri, of course. So, unsurprising that gets banned away when the pairing is super, super good. I'm seeing a casted in Hover, Aragon. I'm not going to talk about it because I think it would be very unusual, but this is consistent Hover. The Akali, much more what we've seen out of Tempt, who has pulled this out multiple times. Skill check pretty much every laner in the NLC and won nearly every time. Very proficient on this champion. Very good at pairing up with someone like Johan on the Vi to make those R combos incredibly deadly.
Yeah, I think this is a Pantheon Hover for Acheron, but as we said, there is the Cassante for Banderas. He loves this pick. Now, I imagine you can see something in Renekton. You can also see Aatrox, Gnar, all these picks. Ragnar's very proficient and also very good into the Cassante. Yeah. And I think they rounded the composition pretty well.
Yeah, you see how the mid game works. Lots of prior mid lane with that Lucian and Nami. You then take that into the vision control and make sure Vi and Akali blow up whoever is unfortunate enough to face check them. On the other side, though, Gentlemates, lock in the Renekton. It's not the most exciting R5. I know you're a Renekton main, all the same. But it is a great pairing with the Sejuani. It's good front line. You have got yourself a great front to back here with a lot of CC chain for Gentlemates.
So front to back, like you highlighted, versus a very heavy mid-game spike of Lions Creed. This is kind of how I'd expect Gentlemates to draft, but it's kind of reversed. Now we have a bunch of front to back and scaling for the side of the LFL representatives with a bridge in the top side with our Renekton Sejuani. Whereas on the flip side, you have a bunch of early game, especially post level 6, and in that mid lane with the Lucian.
Yeah, and of course, Jinjo, no stranger to the Lucian. Lions Creed, no stranger to those comps. They are pulling it out here on the biggest stage available to them. They are going to want to make this one stick, because if it doesn't work in that mid game in particular, I get a little bit nervous if they have to just front to back that other team. And I say this as an NLC caster and still holding out hope that this team can do something special here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of responsibility on the side of Jinjo there to not mess up the lane on the Lucian, because you don't really want to come out behind. You have a bunch of scaling into that Azir as Akali come mid game as well, because you dominate side lane. So mid game, Lions Creed, the onus is on them.
That's exactly it. On the other side, though, just look at those names. Ica, such a legend of the French scene, was on LDLC when they were the best regional team within the LFL. They were so good. Like Camilius, a name that many people remember. Bao, of course, over in Turkey last year. I think he won in spring, even on the Wildcats, if I'm remembering correctly. Ragnar, a name that so many LEC and ERL enjoyers have kind of been keeping their eyes on, wondering whether at some point he gets to go up to LEC. People have been that excited about the guy, and that's a lot of just raw talent there to try and match up against his Lions Creed.
And I have to say, having played against both of these two top laners in solo queue quite a bit, as a Ragnar's...
Oh yeah, as you do. You know, like,
Ragnar's micro is really insane, right? You will play against this guy, he'll always be top 10 challenger, you'll lane against him, you'll just get absolutely blasted no matter what matchup you're playing against. So I'm always really hyped to see how he pilots the lane phase, because there's a lot of initiative that you can have on this duo.
Exactly. I love that you just go for the name drop there, by the way. Just like, oh, you know, casually playing against Miss Like, it's a little bit like, you know, oh, I know this one musician, you know, who's like, you know. Did you have to do that? Like,
it's a privilege.
I'm not that great at the game, so I don't need you to sort of like rub it like, oh, I play, you know, just hobnob with the pros all the time.
No. My good friend Banderas.
Oh, stop it.
No.
Well, what can you tell me about Banderas? You play against him as well?
A bit less micro proficient in my opinion than Ragnar, but he is way more well-rounded. I think he played weak side, strong side very well. He's very good at champions like Fiora, Camille. If you want to potentially pull those out and play for a side lane, we have Camille top lane buff specifically, as well as Fiora nerfs, I think. But, you know, maybe an angle in the future. But right now is more of a weak side player for his team. Weak side William, he'll just pick out Cassante, Malphites, Orns, and what have you.
Why does it have to be a William that's weak side?
No, it's a good question. I don't even think that's his name.
I don't know what Banderas' actual name is. I just know
it's something very Nordic.
That would make some sense considering he is a Nordic person. So, you know, that's pretty understandable. I will also say here, bring it back to the game and away from your ridiculous social circle of, you know, professional players. This guy. One of the things we have consistently said about Lions Creed is, despite the early split woes from the team where they were still struggling to figure out who was going to be driving the bus, who was going to be taking the lead when the games were a bit more even and they weren't all just snowballing to a victory. One of the things we saw was that Banderas was the one who would take that weaker side option across the Rift, or across the team, as we do head onto the Rift here for our second game of the day. He is once again being asked to play, yes, a high agency tank, but something with a little bit less resources available to them.
Yeah, so immediately, talking about that top lane, like you're saying, I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of early gank from the side of the Sejuani. Like, there's such
a good combo. There
isn't that much potential in punishing a Cassante, but generally, if you're going to do it, it's going to be early game. Otherwise, this Cassante just gets too tanky to dive, and there's just no real potential there. Renekton gets stonewalled. Outside of that, the volatility I'm looking at is down bot side with the Lucian Nami into the Rakan lane. Rakan generally quite a weak early laner, and he will just get absolutely blasted in the lane. Same with Zeri.
He can't tank the culling at the very least. That's a miserable time. I think understandably he's gone towards Guardian here now. Shenanigans with the runes, you need a little bit more safety from somewhere.
Yeah, but in general, I would expect a slightly more muted early game where they scale up. You have the Akali post 6 win condition and in the side lanes as well as down the bot side. When you bring that Lucian to mid lane come mid game, that's when you're really, really strong.
And again, when we were prepping this game, we were saying, look, we kind of expected out the mid jungles, and that's probably less the case for Gentlemates this time around, but for the side of Lions Creed, you've got the Vi and the Akali, and you know where they'll be wanting to go. It's either to blow up Ica or to take that very scary level 6 combo and trying to combo up with the Lucian Nami to make violent things happen to Gentlemate's bot side. And the question then becomes, okay, can Lions Creed do what they did so well reaching the NLC, which is get that line priority to allow Johan to set up for those players, or can Gentlemates, who are pretty good at doing that themselves, stall out towards that 1-2 item mark and make those team fights pretty untenable for Lions Creed?
So, no, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of scaling involved in these team fights, but my eyes are on that ward that was placed on blue buff, because what it can do is give info of where Vi is pathing to, and then what you can do on Sejuani is your 3 camp into invade is pretty strong. Now, the problem they have, though, is they're getting pushed in both bot and mid, so just kind of fishing for it potentially with that level 3 on the Sejuani, although losing that little minion and not hitting 3 right there might delay it a little too much.
That's a bit rough. That could prove difficult. And actually, it's also worth noting there is a blue ward on the exit from the blue side jungle of Gentlemates, which, if you were looking for that level 3 invade, would then be spotted in turn. So I think that's actually quite a smart response from ward from Lions Creed after the level 1, and kind of good response there, and matching the flow of events that could have come through.
Absolutely. Warding for that potential invade was really smart. Now, what Ragnar's doing here is this is exactly how you play the Renekton vs Cassante matchup, is you slow push crash, 3 waves, then you take a demolish proc, you proxy the 4th, you can recall if you like, and then you can keep playing this demolish game. You can actually take a plating pre 5 minutes if you do this every other wave. So Ragnar.
What's the kind of like upper limit in terms of the plates you will be looking for in a matchup like that if you are playing that kind of the waves the way you're supposed to be?
It depends on how much you can track the enemy jungler, because that really dictates how much you can play the game generally.
Fun fact, you mentioned tracking the enemy jungler after that level 1. It's all coming back to that ward on blue buff, I'm telling you.
And that lets him proxy, but a skirmish already.
Around that Scuttle Crab, both junglers would love this. White gets the permafrost proc, but Johan waits for the aftershock to time out, and the extended trade would favor Johan, so Johan sticks around, smites it to ensure there's no attempted steal away, and they'll claim that Scuttle Crab early. Yeah,
despite having potential Azir move, Azir really doesn't want to be fighting in the river compared to Akali, so Akali could just come and play for the fight and then just win out, because Akali's a much stronger in the river duelist. But Sejuani just going to be happy getting a Scuttle Crab on the top side as well, and depending on the HP of Banderas, there could be a dive angle here on the slow push.
Certainly look for it. The wave may well be big enough. Level 5 now hit. Banderas about to put down a ward, you'd imagine. Well, may see White recalling, and the recall does come on through. Throws down that ward with the Tribrush. Kind of aware that might have been a possibility. There's that Demolish proc you talked about. A slice away. Banderas doing what he can to get value here, very much on the weak side for his team.
Yeah, it is a rough matchup. You naturally lose. You can see Johan was pathing up towards his camp, so I'm sure if he was going to be dove, he would have been there to cover that dive as well. But you can see White potentially fishing for it. Not through the Cassante W, though, and that's why it's so hard to dive a Cassante. But yeah, plate already coming down for the Renekton. He can recall now if he wants to. He's been really comfy.
Why have I got this one meme running through my head? It's something about 4,700 AP, 1 second, gets unstock. What? I don't know. Where have I heard that before? Trade in the bot side, Jinjo getting off some nice double taps there. Camillea's not enjoying Lucian being Lucian there briefly, but I think that will delay a bit of a reset that they were debating taking.
So Renekton already going to be able to reset as well. Crash the wave real quick and force Banderas' TP now. Because Vi is clearing down the bot side and with less priority in the top side, they can just take away these first 3 grubs very comfortably. Renekton can go for a free reset if he likes, but he's going to stay around just to shadow the grubs.
That's a Dominus box as he face checks that one. That's going to suck. Level 5 still for Banderas, so no real way out. It's going to throw down the Ghost, so has to burn the additional summer there, which feels pretty rough. Take a bit more drink, trying to get towards level 6 if he can, but just being zoned off his minion wave as White claims the early grubs.
That's really rough for Banderas, right? Because he has no teleport to come back to lane to bail himself out and get the HP back. So he's going to have to look for honey fruits or something, or just take a free reset. Now, what Ragnar can do is just come back full HP. He's going to teleport and stay in the lane whilst Banderas is half HP, and he can just assert his dominance with more platings.
That's the plan, of course. Is the Renekton going to be enough of a win condition, though? Because elsewhere, it is Temp that has largely been getting the shove in on this Azir. It has been the Lucian's getting the shove in on bot side, and in some ways, that's what Banderas signed up for this game. It was to be the weak side. I will just survive and try not to bleed out too much. It is this mid-jungle. It is this bot lane where Alliance Creed are going to be looking to get as much value as possible. When you've got these kind of Korean veteran superstars here, such as they are in the ERLs and the likes of Tempt and Johan, they'll be looking to make their presence felt now that the level 6 is beginning to come on through.
The Korean jungle mid-duo, they're going to have their work cut out for them because they have to play into the Grasp Tank Azir. And diving a Grasp Tank Azir is kind of why it makes the champion so flexible. And like usually his weakness would be being dove on by champions like Akali, but when you're so tanky, that can be incredibly difficult. So.
And I think you're right to call that out as well, because it is the Grasp, it is the Haunting guys first. It will likely be into the Frozen Heart afterwards. Tank Azir could prove difficult if it does get later and later. Not the best tank killing potential here from Lion's Creed. And when you've already got the Sejuani and the Renekton, that's just so many HP bruises to deal with at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And my eyes are looking forward into the mid game to see how they pilot this, because this there's not that much cheese happening right now. No early cheese ganks, no dives top, no ganks bot lane. I expected some more volatility out of the Lion's Creed and Gentlemate's bot lane, but nothing's happening too much there.
It's not a requirement as such yet, but once that first item comes on through, once the level 6s are truly in for particularly Jinjo and Kasing, who are kind of waiting for that online speed, they are going to start to want to pull the trigger, because if it is a quiet mid-game, Gentlemates are very pleased indeed.
And already snowballing with this dragon, like getting the first dragon, slows down Lion's Creed's potential to stack dragons as well. But after a little while, get your first item, you send the Lucian mid lane, you ward all around, and let him push consistently, catching waves deep.
Johan doing what Johan likes to do, which is take the info of what's happening because of his pushing lanes and stuff, and the fact that Dragon went down to go for an invade will look to clear out the Krugs on the side of White. Now, could theoretically look for a dive, but I think that would be a little bit bold.
I think it's a little bit too difficult. Cassante also doesn't have enough damage. The Dominus will be way too tanky, so...
Very close to level 6 here for Jinjo, actually. As Bao hits it first, top side, Banderas gets a Q3 knockback with the Untofo strikes. White coming on down, though. Here comes Johan. This will be our first proper skirmish of the game. Banderas pretty low, still trying to trade this one out. Might trying to turn around now onto Johan, who flashes away. There's the Glacial Prison, could look for more CC. Nantofo Strikes comes on through, but the Summoner Spell advantage is Gentlemate's bot side. Camilius taken very low by the culling. But that will be the end of that. A heal burn from Kasing, but that's traded by Camilius on the other side. Temp goes in versus Ica, who knows he should have the advantage. The flash away from the Azir. And lots of skirmishes, but no deaths.
Skirmishing all across the map, top side, mid, and bot lane. But really big in that top side. Ragnar was so controlled with his flash usage. He did not flash W someone when he could have done. And I feel like that was a mistake because there was such an easy flash W angle on the Cassante.
That's because he's running the Ghost.
The Ragnar on the Renekton with
sorry,
flash.
I thought you said flash W for Cassante on the for the Berserk. Oh, I now understand. I thought you said the Cassante with the flash W in. Now I understand. Yes, they're the Renekton W onto Vanderus. Words are hard, man, and understanding them is tricky. You know, I probably should have got that. That's fair.
Yeah, still, overall, really winning. Look at that plate differential in the top side. 2 plates left for the side of Ragnar to take. This is textbook how you play this matchup.
It's a very pleased Renekton main.
I am very pleased.
Like, I'm watching him just sort of nod, like, this is what I want out of my Renekton gameplay. Of course, it's like the rest of the map that Lions Creed are feeling pretty okay with. They've got slight leads in mid, slight leads in bot. Of course, they are still wanting to get value out of this. This game is pretty much even when it comes to gold, but it's the objective that, at least in the early game, gone the way of Gentlemates. And as we said, it is still going to be Gentlemates that have the easier time of it once the mid game has kind of come and gone.
Yeah, and now Lions Creed are facing a problem, right? They have a decision to make. Do we contest these grubs versus a full item Renekton, or do we try and find a cross-map down bot? Now, they're too late to find a cross-map down bot side, right? They should be diving down bot already, but it took a long time for Johan to find that reset, and they're not going to be able to do that. So now 6 grubs going the way of Gentlemates with this Renekton top side.
Pretty difficult to manage, especially when you've already seen that they've got at least one lane which they can continue to attack. Of course, mid and bot, that's a little easier said than done, but you can claim that one turret, continue to snowball where the win condition is, and even if the Renekton doesn't have to be the late game carry, he becomes a wonderful bridge to get that Azir, get that Zeri towards a scarier point of power. Lions Creed, though, still winning on those first items themselves. We'll be looking to and pull the trigger in short order. Still a couple minutes until that second dragon spawns, which might be our next port of call, but in some ways I'd like to see them pull the trigger before that if they can. Try and get some gold, try and get some priority somewhere, because it's been a little low on the proactivity so far. And this is kind of going to be the time where they start to pull that trigger if they want to win the game.
Yeah, definitely a team composition that needs the ultimates and needs to be like on point with the diving. They need to go in together, the Tempt and Johan duo. So on this next dragon fight, like you said, maybe looking for flashes beforehand, some kind of ganks.
Speaking of that, Johan's found his way into the lane here. Has of course got the cease and desist available. Culling, tidal wave, all there. This could get very spicy indeed, especially as White about to tow his face. 3v3 on the cards. Quickness comes on through. There's the tidal wave. Jinjo flashes away, and now in comes Vi. Huge cease and desist. First blood towards Jinjo's Lucian. Johan now very low on the other side of his bow. Continue to throw out so many of those burst fires. Claims a kill, but now Tempt is roaming. Not going to realistically find an angle though, so it will become the 1-for-1 on the bot side, but it will be Jinjo with a slight advantage in the sense he got first blood. Summoner advantage though, probably still favoring Bao. All out goes Banderus. Ragnar pretty low here. Needs to be a bit afraid, especially as the Ghost is there. Can keep on chasing. Goes forward, gets the kill. Banderus breaks down Ragnar, who had otherwise been crushing the lane.
Banderus, how was Ragnar so low HP before that fight started? Banderus must have taken some incredible trades before that. But down in bot side as well, with that skirmish, you could see the composition. All the burst comes out, and after that, they just have no gas. There's nothing to do. The Sejuani can tank forever. And
it's the Renekton nerfs, man. I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
you were solely about them in the green room on stage. Ragnar, a bit burnt there, who we didn't see where it started, but we certainly saw where it ended. Banderus, despite being put under the cosh, finding that solo kill. Beautiful stuff from Lions Creed's top.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what he needed, right? As we take a look into this replay, look at all the bursts coming out. Johan waits, the cleanse comes through, Jinja flashes the Glacial Prison, but then the burst is used on the Rakan. After this, Zeri is the absolute queen of cleaning up. The second you run out of anything, Johan just has to try and walk away. And there's no DPS, despite Tempt coming down.
You can see Johan was just trying to survive a little bit longer, maybe try and get Tempt into the fight. Doesn't quite happen. Of course, it ends up being an even enough moment. The problem is, yeah, these skirmishes look okay for Lions Creed, but it is these neutral objectives that Gentlemates are just picking up without much of a look-in from Lions Creed at all. This will be second dragon. No look-in from Lions Creed at all. They've already got the 6 grubs. That is a huge hidden amount of power that's going the way Lions Creed, the way of Gentlemates, as Ica just finds Johan and forces a flash on the Raptor pit to boot.
Yeah, Pryor coming in mid as well as down bot side, so they were ready to move. Lucian was not.
Jinjo steps on forwards. Camilius taking a little bit low as the piercing light and the double tap comes on through, but no one really wanted to commit further than that. Johan made a lot happen in terms of the ganks, but has been farming up a Storm, up about 20 odd CS and 700 gold individually. But again, as we said, the Sejuani's pretty happy to fall a little bit behind, especially if it's come with all the objectives going their way, because even if Lions Creed start to snowball ahead, the fact is, how fast are they going to be able to snowball when all those objectives kind of haven't gone their way in the early game? The stall is certainly available for Gentlemates should they need to do it.
Yeah. My eyes now are on Rift Herald, though. Rift Herald is spawning very soon. Resets are coming in as well. I wonder if we'll see everyone reset and head beeline up topside. Now, the thing is, items have come out, completions are out. You have Leandries and Black Cleaver on Renekton and Azir. So, a lot of combat power coming in from Gentlemates.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They are beginning to get towards those first items. Can be pretty difficult to manage. The Leandries, as you mentioned, likely going towards tank options after this with the Grasp. It's been the secondary build of choice for Azir. It's so obnoxious. We've all seen it. Could prove very difficult. I'm assuming Tempt won't be miles off a first item completion himself. Likely the Lichbane looking at the items in inventory. Got himself a Dark Seal as well to try and snowball it. The moment I speak about it, there it is. So first item's also pretty much there for Lions Creed as well.
Yeah, a million pings coming in. Doesn't look like Gentlemates actually want to contest this. So what they're going to do is they're going to cross-map down bot side. Pings coming out already down bot on that wave. So they'll ping this wave and then push it in and secure the bot lane turret. Potentially playing for first blood turret instead of committing to this Rift Herald.
Herald's already half down though, so I don't know how much time they're going to have on this turret. They should probably be able to get it, but does that allow Lions Creed a bit of an aggressive shove with this Herald afterwards, maybe towards that mid lane? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I feel like Lions Creed committed too many resources to this Rift Herald. They had all three people mid, Bander's helping on the Rift Herald, so they lose top tower as well as bot tower, probably down bot side with this Rift Herald, grubby damage.
Yeah, Ardent Blaze went a little wide. I don't think they necessarily know. Jinjo's staying as far away from this as they can. We'll get towards the wave, so it'll be half the turret. I don't think there's anything more as Tempt is also here, just waiting to see whether the dive comes on through regardless, but I'll stick around and there. Wave is cleared away, so it will only be the one turret the Gentlemates claim so far, but it's still a significant cross-map advantage there from Gentlemates.
Yeah, TP's up for both solo laners as well. If Ragnar wants to push out and then TP down bot side for a potential dive, there are so many wards that he could TP do down there. Pings are coming out. I think this could be an angle. Look at Ragnar staying still.
Yeah, definitely get spicy down. We've got 2 minutes or so until Soul Point as well, and with the Herald available to Johan, we might start to see some of that prior played around. Johan needs to be a bit afraid because Ica's going to come on over. This will not be a 1v1 for long. Bander's trying to get over here. How much time do they have? Tempt now rolling over. Kissing and Jinjo on the other side. Teleport's beginning to fly to boot. Banderous now trying to back away. Gets a Q3. Buff as well through it with the W. That footwork spending some time. Tempt trying to fangle in. Look at Banderous who's got Ica over the wall. Gets a kill. White goes down. 2 kills towards the Cassette. The healing is monstrous. The Renekton's a pair of shoes. Banderous is a bandit getting away with absolute murder.
And Banderous with the plays, kidnapping Azir and taking him under tower, knows there's going to be a play down bot side. He walks over there and starts a fight. Absolutely phenomenal gameplay coming out of Banderous.
Towards the bot side, Lions Creed aware of what Gentlemates were looking for. You wonder whether re-engage might happen. We'll go back towards this replay because it started off with Gentlemates making the invade.
Yeah, so what happens is Banderous walk straight from base to down bot side because they know there's going to be an invade. There's a bunch of vision telling him that. Now, teleport comes through. He managed to find the pushback, takes Azir over the wall, and Azir doesn't have flash, so he gets stuck under the tower. Banderous then gets the auto Qs, and that's all she wrote.
Johan with the stunted Sky healing as well, alongside the red buff, just can't be brought down. This Cassante was supposed to be out of the game. You were so pleased with how that Renekton played at the game, and suddenly
that
Ragnar is 0-2, 4-0-0 on the other side.
Yeah, that one death, now you have an accelerated Cassante, and he's going to be so huge in these front-to-back teamfights. And all these skirmishes, 4-0, Frozen Heart completion, as well as multiple components.
Yes, the skirmishes start coming on through for Lions Creed this time. They find a few. Of course, the gold lead not huge right now. We've got ourselves 30 seconds until Soul Point for Gentlemates. Can they still find themselves that win condition that would be a Mountain Soul?
Yeah, so you're going to have your culling in the mid lane now as well, and Cassante always has first move because he has teleport. So now what's happening is Ragnar is preemptively walking down just in case the fight comes through.
That's exactly it. Was wondering whether Jinjo stepping forwards there could have proven dangerous indeed. Won't happen. Yeah. Teleport now coming through from Banderous. They are going to try and fight this one.
Teleport advantage. He can just walk in there. He's so tanky.
Takes a bit of damage. Good W away. The Glacial Prison comes on through. But it's onto a Cassante. What value do you get from that? Not the greatest ultimate from White I've ever seen.
Yeah, such a good Sejuani ult catcher. He can just face check. It's so easy to face check when you're a fed Cassante. These bushes don't mean anything, no matter how Gentlemates want to control.
Now it's mid lane Prior, that's the name of the game. In your mini-map, you could see Tempt and Ica squaring off at the bot side of the river. Ica now roam through his own jungle to get towards a potential angle in. Banderas maybe being engaged on again, but again, this Cassante is so tanky. Going to the backside onto Ragnar, trying to get some damage. The Q3 is decent. Shoved away into the turnaround. Jinjo is down. The AD carry dead. Banderas survives back for how much longer? What can Tempt do in the backside? Damage is good, but the kills don't come on through. Finally, they get one back, and it will be the 1-for-1. The health bars are pretty even. The issue being that Bao is still alive, Jinjo is not.
Yes, Jinjo somehow being in the front line there, managing to get dove on, no flash for the AD carry of the side of Lions Creed. So Banderas as well. I think what they're doing is overreaching. They could just play for the dragon. Gentlemates have to come into them. They can use that as a dive. I don't think Temp was there either, but I'd love to see a replay of this.
Tempt struggling to find an angle in, did get some damage down. He helped finish off Camilius at the very least. It was, I believe, Johan that picked up the kill, but still, the health bars are good enough. The Lions Creed claim the dragon, break the Drake stacking, and they'll consider that a victory enough.
Yeah, I think the problem was Temp was late, right? So he just wasn't there. He was pushing out bot lane. You were talking about Temp fighting Ica down on the bot side for bot Prio, so he had to walk on up through the river. And by the time Jinjo was dead, he had to try and recover everything. But still, overall, winning for Lions Creed.
Of course, it's only 1,000 gold though, and it's only one dragon. They didn't get those early ones. We'll have a look at this replay. Yeah, Tempt is at the bottom of the river.
So he's down at the bottom of the river. W for Banderas is used now. The ult doesn't give him a new one, so he just gets absolutely chunked. He gets shredded. Flash onto Jinjo, gets one shot by the Renekton W empowered, and Tempt has to come very late onwards. But it's not enough damage there to finish off everyone. Camilius falls.
Does indeed, and like Camilius finds that engage onto Jinjo, this player who has been around the ERL block just a little bit, one of the very best supports around, and finds the angle in. Can't quite escape afterwards, of course, but still stalling the game best they can. Lions Creed have come back into the game after it looked a little bit dicey early on. The issue still going to be, though, that if this game stays like this for the next 10 minutes, Gentlemates, with that tank Azir, with the Zeri, with the front line they have, I still don't think it's going to be easy for Lions Creed as the game goes on.
So what you see, usually, if you watch the LCK, LPL, or what have you, with the Lucians, is you send them mid, and then you put a bunch of different wards around the river and all the different entrances to the jungle. And that way, the Lucian is free to dash forward and potentially, like, you know, use his culling and burst out a target.
Well, there's the engage. Camilius not quite taken out. They went looking for that one, but that will be culling down for only a battle dance away. Still, can start to look for this tier 1 in the mid lane. Tempt's now here, but the rest of Gentlemates come roaming on in to defend their tier 1 in mid lane, down to about 10% HP.
Every single time, they can just rinse and repeat it, right? They get a bunch of chunk damage onto someone and a little bit of chip damage on the tower. They can push in the sides and then go to mid again, and that's how Lions Creed want to play. Now, Camilius might be fishing for something here. They just want to crash the wave in, but then they got to match the sides again.
Everyone's so ready and willing to fight for this mid lane power. That's what the Lucian army's so good for. You use it to get shove and get those wards down you were talking about. And so far, Gentlemates have done a pretty good job of preventing that from being easily done from Lions Creed. They are now just putting down a load of wards of their own, that defensive line there along the top side of that mid lane. A reminder as well, this is LFL 3rd seed. They come through play-ins, but don't sleep on that. The amount of times we have seen LFL teams, whatever their seedings be, make incredibly deep runs is just mental to see. His production brings up the champion damage, and Cassante, he was down like how many plates? How much CS? That's very unreasonable.
4 plates, and you just kind of wailing each other top lane in this matchup, but still, it's never normally this hard.
Wow, I was like there making this narrative point about, you know, like LFL teams and the play-ins buff, and then Banderas is like, yeah, but Cassante. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
what
a funny champion.
How do you feel about Cassante?
It's champion. It's an interesting design.
You're on broadcast. You've got to be polite.
I enjoy this champion. I very much love this champion. Skarner as well. New Skarner. Mwah, chef's kiss.
You are one of those players. Oh dear. You know, I don't think I can be friends with you anymore. This is it. I'm requesting you leave the broadcast. That's it. Go away.
Once again, though, I'm going to bring it back to the game.
Are you sure?
I always have to rein it in initialize.
Probably easier said than done, as White has to flash away. My human notwithstanding, but that is important because with White flashing away, the ability to defend this tier 1 not really available. You said they could rinse and repeat. They do just that. Those defensive ones mean very little when Lions Creed have managed to come in and sweep them away. Tier 1 down in mid lane.
Prio for the Akali, so she can always move, right? In the side lane, this is exactly what threat she brings to the Azir, and what they can do is they can bring her down, invade, get vision, sweep away Gentlemate's vision, despite their vision being really good. Now, Lion's Creed Jinjo, he can just dash forward if he wants to when he has moved from his Akali.
A lot harder to stay safe in this mid lane. And that was also the first turret of the game for Lion's Creed, who have not been able to get any of those down yet. So there's actually quite a lot of standing gold available to them if they can get to some of those turrets. It's Ica shoving up in this side lane with that kind of knowledge of where Lion's Creed were and Tempt farming this wave a little bit deeper into his own half to keep safe. Eyes on that top corner of your screen, though, because that timer has just ticked over a minute. Another dragon fight, another opportunity for Soul Point for Gentlemates if they could claim it. On the other side, I'm just saying if K'Sante continues to get more resistance stacks, that could prove a bit annoying if he stacks up 4 Drakes himself.
Yeah, mid lane Prio, though, going to be the name of the game now for this dragon. They can dash forward, potentially look for a chunk on Bow, but they're going to keep looking for vision up topside. Baron is being pinged, so just a cheeky water on it and then contesting dragon, I believe, because Gentlemates, they're on the 3rd dragon. They need to be contested here.
Mid lane Prio, as you said, name of the game. Will Lion's Creed look to fight for the dragon or maybe look for a Baron turn themselves? There's a potential angle in there from White, who gets pulled back. Actually, a Q3 onto Ragnar, who's taken down by about 20% HP. Of course, it is the Renekton and still has the dominance to add a little bit more HP to his total. Will cue the wave. On the other side, engage onto Johan. Teleport coming on through from the side of Banderas. Engage now onto White, who's very low. Taken down. Jungler out. Bow will throw down the lightning crash, but it's grounded immediately. Nothing to be found. Tent goes in, flies into the backside. A double kill for the mid laner. Absolutely eviscerating them all. Has still got an execution that is perfect to work with. A few more 5-point strikes. And Lion's Creed decimate Gentlemates. Nothing gentle in the fight at all. Just a few headless corpses and a Baron for Lion's Creed to be started.
Banderas just runs them down, forces a fight. Teleport comes through from Tempt, and they manage to pull out the team fight win. Nothing. There's not enough DPS from the side of the Gentlemates. Azir and Zeri haven't come online yet, and crucially, the front line for Gentlemates aren't tanky enough. They get absolutely eviscerated by the culling and the DPS there.
That was pretty brutal. I was not expecting the Sejuani to just disappear like that, and suddenly Gentlemates on the retreat. Looking a little bit lackluster. Bow down a load of the summoners. Ica not really able to get the DPS down they were hoping for, and suddenly with Baron to their name, no longer in danger of stalling a Lion's Creed. Let's have a look at the replay again, because it's White that gets caught.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Banderas on the front lines continuously. They tried to poke him out, but then the engage comes through, and I can't wait for Johan to ult through the Azir wall here in another one. But watch this culling. It does so much damage. Ragnar doesn't have that many resists, so he also gets melted. Steris comes out. Q3 misses from Banderas, but here comes the Johan ultimate through the Azir wall.
And they tried to stop Tempt as well, who was so quick with that E back over the wall that disengage tool doesn't happen, and suddenly the health bars are too low. Bow's run away with the Ghost running, and there's nothing left to be done. Gentlemates, kind of a bit shell-shocked after that one. That's now an Infinity Edge in for Jinjo. Oh boy, this is suddenly looking very scary indeed for Gentlemates, and we talked about the standing gold. They've only claimed 1 turret so far, Aragon. They start claiming those structures with this Baron. That gold lead is about to get meteorically large.
Baron in every single lane. They have stronger side lanes as well, so they can comfortably play the 1-3-1. Now, Gentlemates have a decision to make. Do they commit to a side lane and punish a side? The problem is that K'Sante's going to buy so much time. Akali's also going to buy so much time with the Shroud, so they just got to mitigate. They can't commit to a side lane.
2 remaining outer turrets for another few thousand gold towards this total. Still got themselves a minute and 40 to work with. Can start to look at some of these tier 2s. This will be a very economically positive Baron for the Creed of Lions.
Yeah, mid push, bot push, tier 2s are generally the name of the game. Usually with these first Barons, you don't want to crack the base open. Well, you can't really generally crack the base open. You get all the tier 2 towers. Bunch of standing gold here.
That's what they're after. White coming to shields one up attempts, knowing he can't work too much further forwards, is just there to empower the minions there. Gives a moment instead for Lion's Creed to disappear into the blue side jungle, try and catch someone out who's looking to shield their own lanes. White, he would have been recolored red there if he'd stepped too much further forwards, but manages to keep himself alive this time around. Yeah,
but look, they just have to try and clear waves. They can't gank a side lane, which is what you normally want to do when you're against a Baron, to stop a siege, stem the bleeding somewhere. But because of how slippery these side lanes are in the Akali and the K'Sante, so they just have to deal with it. Probably lose his tier 2 turrets to the Demolishers and the Baron damage.
This is going to be a little bit difficult to manage. Of course, it also buys a lot of time before another dragon would spawn. It was soul point claimed by Gentlemates, I'll notice. We still didn't see that because of the replay, so there is still soul potentially available for Gentlemates in 3 minutes. If they can claim that, then a lot of sins can be forgiven early on in the game. Soul, though, still a couple minutes off and still a lot of setup away. They're going to have to manage a very difficult few minutes to even consider that.
Yeah. Opening up through mid lane, ping's coming out already. They want to catch the waves deep. They want to then spread their vision down into bot side jungle so they can secure vision for that dragon, like you're saying. Bot lane tier 2 is the name of the prize that they're looking for. But that mid push is essential right now, and they need vision to back that up. So vision around those wraiths and around those wolves areas.
You've got yourself a Lucian army, and then, of course, the follow-up of the Vi. If anyone steps too far forwards, your ability to pounce on someone from a screen away is so high.
Absolutely. There's so much burst damage and pick potential if they move from mid to side as well. That it's just so difficult to deal with, and you can never move up. Look how far back Hazari, how far Bao has to walk to be able to even catch a wave. Now, they've got push in mid. They can just move to top side and play for that top turret as well.
Worth noting, of course, it is actually the third item now completed for Bao. It's gone towards the Infinity Edge, nothing like the Navori. And also, Ica hasn't gone towards the tank build. It's actually gone towards the Nashes afterwards. It's going to be a bit more on the AP front, feeling like he needs the damage, can't afford to be that kind of tankier, slower build, needs that DPS option. They are going to try and get the shove on forwards, try and find some recoup in terms of map control that Lions Creed have been tearing away from them over the last few minutes with that Baron.
They're trying to fight back. Gentlemates are trying to fight back, find a pick on side lane onto the Akali from Temp, but he recalled. So they were making pings down to check the bushes, but they realized, no, it's too late. We see Akali now. And now, the whole of Lions Creed are in the top side jungle, so space checking that is going to be extremely scary. Look how deep Jinjo can catch that wave on the Lucian. That'll give them so much time to be able to move up top.
And the issue is actually, like, the Kasante's got 3 items. The Akali's up 2,000 gold in the death cap. You're looking in the jungle. It's a 3-item Vi who's just not that squishy, but the moment I speak about it, she's dead to rights.
An overextension, disrespecting, not waiting for Jinjo to catch this wave and then move up with the team, but instead on his own in the jungle.
We'll point out that was 4 ultimates burned to do it. We've still got 50 seconds until the Dragon, so probably most of those ultimates will be up and available before that becomes a point, and Johan should have respawned before Dragon is alive. The issue is he won't be in the river at that point. He won't be available to help set up for that fight, so Gentlemates, they were looking for the pick. Yep. They find what they needed. Yeah,
no tools to start a fight, though, to punish the Vi being down. So they can just sit mid, Lions Creed Jinjo. He could just keep clearing the waves. They have side lane push, and Temp might be looking for a 1v1.
Ooh, gets the Zhonya's. That's actually the arm guard as well, so that will now be broken. Can look for a kill. Gets the perfect execution. It is stylish in the extreme. Tempt finds a 1v1 he made a name for himself in the NLC with.
Yeah, he's playing so damn well with his dive composition. I think Ica needed to hold his flash and try to flash the R2. That's the big execute damage. But still, impressive.
Just looking at that ring, there's a number 10 on it. I wonder, with a key fight coming up, whether we might see Temp back and pick up a Medjai's. Eyes on that one. That's quite a lot of damage.
Yeah. I wonder what Gentlemates are going to do to cross-map this. Are they going to set up around Baron and have that be the name of the game? Because they're not going to contest this Dragon with Ica down.
It doesn't look like it, and instead Tempt has also gone towards the Blight and Duel, disappointing my dreams of library cards.
Yep.
Look, Nymera's not here. Someone's got to run the Medjai's agenda. But still, another Mountain Dragon secured. Not going to be contested by Gentlemates, especially considering Ica's still dead. Just wouldn't have been a possibility. Instead, towards the mid lane we look.
Look at the Johan flank. He's going in already.
Ooh, Bao goes over the wall, manages to get just far enough away, actually. Ghost Flash popped. Camilius now in danger. The Q lands. Camilius plucks him his feathers. Now White in a dangerous position. Won't need to run that particular color flag, but will not need to retreat too far. It's the Team Red buff available, but reminder, Baron's alive and a member down. Lions Creed can turn towards the big purple worm and force Gentlemates to contest.
Yeah, that's a lot of their engage. They're going to have to move in. They don't have wards as well because the support is down. That's all their wards. So Ragnar can just clear out these wards and stop White from entering the pit.
Over the wall they go. Johan misses the Vault Breaker. Now in a slightly dangerous position. But Jinjo just melts Ica. Now tempted to the backside. He's got the Shroud down. Can look for a bit more DPS. The Q's still available. A lot of energy to his name. 6,000 HP. White now can look back over. They know where he is. Trying to challenge this Sejuani. 3,000 HP. They're holding. They're trying to force more. The bubble goes White. Down to half HP. Temp steps forward. Baron secured. Temp murders the Sejuani. It is bacon for dinner and breakfast the day after. Ragnar now running away, gets hit by the Shuriken flip, and Temp breaks another set of ankles.
So much damage coming in from this duo. They play the Baron well. They don't let White enter the pit. I thought they'd need Cassante ult to keep White out of the pit there, but they just didn't. So a lot of damage coming out. And now they can siege. I wonder if they're going to threaten the Nexus towers here.
They are going to keep going forward. They've got a wave. They've got 2 members down. They can keep shoving all they want. They've got double cannon minions here as well. Gentlemates need a find to clear this wave. They will do just that. Looks like Lions Creed happy enough to move towards the mid lane and claiming another inhibitor, Blue Peter style, because they prepared that one earlier. Another Q3 into the W. Oh, Banderas. The combos have been so slick.
So many pushbacks and so many kidnaps from Banderas, and it all stems from him. Managed to find that roam early on.
It's just getting worse and worse. Bow down
The
to 20 percentage peak. Banderas goes forwards. White once again seeing grey. It's monochrome for Gentlemates. The colour draining from their face and from their screens. Still down a man every time someone comes back up. Another person falls. It is never a 5v5. It is never an even fight. And the Pride of Lions roars their way towards a Game 1 victory. LFL humbled here as NLC look for a Game 1 victory.
And I have to highlight Banderas putting the whole game on his back with that early roam. Managed to find the timer to walk down, find those players in the jungle, and punish the side of Gentlemates.
Oh yes, it's looking a little bit like a couple kills going back towards Gentlemates at the end of it all, but they will do nothing to stop the end of the game. Lions Creed toy with their food, but their creed is written in blood, and it spells victory. First win for the NLC.
1-0 for the side of Lions Creed. So damn well played with that dive composition. You had the Vi Akali duo absolutely taking over every single fight. And the early game, you didn't think it was so great. 6 scrubs going over the side of Gentlemates. Yeah. But in the end, managed to take over the fights.
2 dragons, 6 scrubs, a Renekton that seemingly was free to do what the heck they liked in that top lane. Banderas finds a solo kill.
Solo kill.
Suddenly Tempt popping off in the side lanes. The mid-game items start to come on through for that Lucian Nami, and Lions Creed just turn on. But speaking of throwing and turning, I think we need to turn that away because the desk are waiting for us all to break that game down. I know, I did phrase that very carefully.
Oh my God, that's the second time.
Thank you for the toss. Lions Creed take out LFL, 3rd seed. And on the normal early game, I'm actually happy. No lane shenanigans. It was a normal early game. And are you okay?
Yeah, well, I mean, that early game didn't turn me on as much as the last one. I'll be completely honest. He said it. We can't let him get away with it. He said it in the first game. That was the throw to you. I don't know if we cut the... Go back on the tape, and then he does it again, and he thinks it's okay. No. Shut the door. Get out. It's our turn. Now it's peace and quiet. Dear Lord.
What about this champion select, though?
Yeah, let's talk about champ select. So, look, I started this. I'll take the lead. All I can say is Temp's Akali banned against him consistently in playoffs. You know, as we look at NLC playoffs, it was 70% of the time, I think, taken away from him. Yes. And he got it. And against the Azir matchup, which globally a lot of people put towards the Azir because of the range matchup, you have a lot of safety to build space as well. The fact that the Akali got through lane not only unscathed, but up 20, 30 CS, right, is huge. And like, this is a reason why Tempt can't have Akali, because plays the laning phase clean, and then an absolute team fight menace that I think helped carry the game.
I'm a big defender of Akali versus Azir on the mid lane. It has to be a good player, though, in the first place to play that Akali. Of course, and Tempt is definitely one of those. But Akali, yes, she's supposed to suffer pre-level 6, which is something that didn't actually happen that much in this game, which I think was the key component for Tempt to go absolutely crazy later. But the moment level 6 hits for Akali, suddenly she starts feeling very confident on that lane. And Tempt was not just confident, he was overconfident in himself. And honestly, he wasn't even punished for that. He was the one fixing the mistakes when his team was getting punished.
So when you see that happen, usually you're like, well, we need some help on the mid lane. And then you look into the top lane, Renekton versus Xante, and it should be even-ish.
But this is the thing. If you take mid out of the equation, right? Like, okay, Akali versus Azir, you have faith that at least the Azir is going to scale, right? And become a great front-to-back team fighter. But the problem was that solo kill top that then disrupts the whole game flow, because the Renekton was winning lane. 4 plates, I think they said on the cast as well. And then because of that solo kill, which we didn't get to see why the Renekton was so low, the solo kill disrupts the whole flow. The early game tempo is out the window. And then suddenly Lions Creed get given like golden opportunity to start picking fights themselves, not have to really worry about this Renekton. Like, I think it really disrupted the whole game plan for Gentlemates.
It was exactly at that point. There was a fight at the bottom, and instantly he died on the top side. This was an interesting one, because we were looking at it like, nah, this is looking good for the LFL. But somehow, Banderas, by the way, this is the way I pronounce it. Banderas. You gotta bring in the Spanish on that one. And it goes crazy, and this is a beautiful save as well. You save Johan, which, in all fairness, had a little bit of a moment. Like, he had a few moments where he went a little bit overboard, wasn't it? Like,
it's like everybody had a moment or two when they went a little bit overboard in this game, right? It was the game of who is a little bit more impatient than the other team, and Gentlemates were much more impatient in this sense than Lions Creed.
On that point as well, their impatience came from the fact that Gentlemates kept just ulting Banderas.
That's
like
true,
every
yes.
single time, every fight, Sejuani ult thrown in as well. A zero in that bottom lane invade that went horribly wrong as well. Like, their engage was very premature for the Stellaris point. And because of that as well, these ultis are down, and fights like this easily turn because Gentlemates don't have anything up.
You can't even do anything to Xante with his ultimates because it's Xante, it's a fun champion. But then you're out of those very crucial tools to take down everybody else on the enemy team.
were they ulting, by the way?
Were they ulting?
Yeah. Banderas.
Banderas. Oh, you just wanted me to say it. You slide, dog.
But can we get back to the point that you were bringing up? The fact that it's a test of patience, and somehow Lions Creed won the patience test. I like that topic.
It's not like Lions Creed were perfect in this game. Let's face it straightforward. They were
think
making
about
mistakes.
the Herald. Do you want? You had the Herald, where they brought in too many tools to the Herald, and they lost a little bit of
They
map.
put so many tools towards that. So they still have Akali on the mid lane, and they're moving Lucian Nami from the bot lane towards the mid lane. And that can be the case, right? You either just move Nami to help out to cover for the Herald a little bit, or you move both of them, but then you need immediately to move Akali out, because at this moment you are already losing the top lane turret. And you're risking to lose more if you don't move anybody away from this mid lane. But they kept all three of them for some reason dancing on the single lane.
Yeah, just